and speak now to Wayne Sussman, who is an elections analyst. Wayne, thank you for making time for us. And I'm wondering if you are surprised at all by the developments in the city of Johannesburg. Colleen Makubela says, well, the minority parties are in charge, they're in power, you will see the difference. But will we, knowing that Thapelo Ahmad is just a transitional mayor and is holding the ticket of the EFF and the ANC?
Thank you. We live in a democracy. No party won over 50% of the vote and thus 50% of the seats in the 2021 local government elections in Johannesburg. So obviously there are a whole host of scenarios which could have played out. But it is just to take a step back and say that Al-Jamaa was the 9th most popular party on the ballot in the 2021 local government elections. They won 3 seats. Cope, who occupies a very important speaker's position, came 15th on the ballot. They won 1 seat. Between them, Al-Jamaa and Cope, they have 4 out of 270 seats, and that's less than 1.5% of the total seats. And they today, on this Friday afternoon, Al-Jamaa and Cope have the 2 most powerful positions in the city. So it is a stunning development. It's a development I haven't seen. And this is a great opportunity for Al-Jamaa now to establish themselves, to work with their coalition partners. Mayor Ahmad's going to have to assemble a broad array of people from the variety of parties who supported him and his candidacy for mayor. And citizens of Johannesburg, whether they're in the suburbs, informal settlements, in the inner city, or in the townships, are going to need to see urgent service delivery. And we need to see less of the shenanigans of motions of no confidence, less about finding our comedy in the city chambers of Johannesburg, and seeing more service delivery and seeing those elected and the new mayoral committee coming in standing up and delivering on the promises the mayor made this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm interested to know what the impact of these developments is going to be on the by-elections that are still to come. And I'm not just talking about this development in the city of Johannesburg, but the potential development that seems to be imminent in the Ekurhuleni Metro, where if this deal between the ANC and the EFF is finalized, the EFF is expected to take that metro and the ANC retake the city of Johannesburg. And obviously residents have mixed emotions. There are those who feel, well, do give the EFF a chance to govern there, and the ANC, you can stick to the biggest metro. But there are others who feel this is some form of a betrayal. We voted for you, even though you didn't get the overwhelming majority, but you certainly got more votes than the other parties. So to them, giving the powerful position of mayor and the entire running of that administration to a smaller party comes as a form of a betrayal.
So with regards to Ekurhuleni, the numbers work differently there. If the ANC and EFF are able to form an agreement, they have enough seats to form a stable coalition, and they will not be dependent on some of the smaller parties. So let's assume, and this is very important because the political dynamics are shifting in Gauteng this afternoon. That's a major statement from the ANC and the EFF, that if they are willing to work together on a local level, there's a strong likelihood that if the ANC falls under 50%, that using that logic, that they'd work together on a provincial level in 2024. But what's fascinating is, let's assume there's a stable agreement which impacts on Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni. The EFF are a big kingmaker in Johannesburg politics. If they work with the ANC, there's one party which we've been hearing their name a lot in the last 24 hours, who are the pure kingmaker. They have enough seats to sink the Al-Jamaa ANC EFF coalition, and they have enough seats to bring the DA, Action SA, Freedom Front Alliance back, and that's the Patriotic Alliance. They today emerge as the kingmakers of Johannesburg politics because of this new reconfiguration of possible deals and coalitions. But Clement, let's see the deal firmly gets signed between the ANC and the EFF. I think both parties are going to rest hard. I think there are prominent people in both parties who realize that it's a big risk because, on the one hand, let's just take the EFF very briefly. The DA have insulted them. They have been willing to support the DA's mayoral candidates, but the DA has offered them nothing in return. So I understand full well why the EFF will go to the ANC, but there are risks with these decisions.
Yeah, certainly. And one wonders, what form this agreement is going to take, because Tshwane is then another metro that comes to mind. If the EFF and the ANC do agree here, they've already said, in fact, the EFF has said, they do want a motion of no confidence in the Tshwane mayor. So we may see some sweeping changes there as well. Let's talk about some results from the recent by-elections now, Wayne, because the EFF, I see they've won the Makgofe and the Blood River was in the Polokwane municipality during this week's by-elections. These are some of the key areas where the ANC enjoyed the support since the dawn of democracy. Talk to us about the inroads that the EFF has made into these areas that have always been the strongholds of the ANC. And even parties like Action SA, are they also making inroads in those areas?
Thank you. 16 years ago, in Makgofe and Blood River, the ANC won 93% of the vote. They were the only game or the only party in town. In 2011, they won 90% of the vote. And then in 2016, the Red Berets emerge and make it into a two-horse race. The ANC held on, but there was a by-election soon after that. And the EFF have now retained this ward for the third by-election in a row. So when we track those numbers over a 16-year period, it becomes clear to us how a space which was once monopolized by a particular party who was able to capture the hearts and minds of voters in those areas opens up. And since the emergence of the EFF, there's been never has there been a third party in the race. And Action SA got 10% of the vote and have established their credentials now in Polokwane. And I want to remind the viewers that Polokwane was an outlier for the ANC in the 2021 local government election because they actually did better in Polokwane in 2021 compared to 2016. So this was a fascinating by-election, and the EFF will be really emboldened by the fact that they retained the seat. And then in a very rural part of Limpopo, near Aldays, near the Botswana border, in Radichaba and Grootpan, in the Blouberg municipality, the EFF more than doubled their support in that area. So the EFF are bouncing back in Limpopo, and that's a great omen in 2024. Just one other quick point, Clement. What's the for the ANC, the Eastern Cape and Limpopo are provinces which stood by the party in 2021. They replicated what they achieved in previous elections, and now we're starting to see some challenges for the ANC in Limpopo, and they should be concerned about that.
And what do these changes mean for the organization? What can they do? Because often when you see these kind of changes in how people vote in the by-elections, the next thing, when you look at the Eastern Cape, there's Cape Town by-elections also coming up soon, you see that, that theme is beginning to spread across the country.
So first of all, by-elections, I think South Africans, I'm certainly getting asked to speak more about by-elections than ever before. I know a lot of people are. I think South Africans are seeing the importance of by-elections, one. Two, we're seeing turnout go up, not down. We are seeing more and more people turn out in South African by-elections because people realize that they can achieve something with their vote. So, and I think what it's also showing is that political parties need to field the right candidates in by-elections. That is of fundamental importance. One of the reasons why I think Action SA chose this ward in Polokwane is they found an excellent local candidate. So you've got to find the local candidate who will resonate with voters, and a by-election change. We've had a lot of by-elections coming up in February where coalitions could fall, coalitions could be strengthened, based on those results of the by-elections. So it doesn't just have impact on the road to 2024. It has impact on service delivery and parties' abilities to prove themselves to residents and voters in those particular areas where the by-elections are happening between now and 2024. So it's of fundamental importance that we keep on focusing on them.
Yeah. Wayne Sussman, elections analyst, thank you so much for making time for us.